Alright, we came up with a video of the original XR75 in motion that me and Chris built back in junior high shop. It's about 80, 81. We borrowed a video camera from our church and somehow have the video after all these years. So we'll take you and show you the bike. I think I'm wearing no helmet in the video, so kids, don't do that. Because if I remember right, I knocked my head and my dog licked my face and woke me up and I had a bad concussion, so don't do it. We'll get Chris out here too to tell us about this since he basically built it. It started out as a 78 XR75 that Chris saved all his money for, and then the first day he had it, I believe the engine was pulled and the head tube was cut off the frame, so kind of fill us in on that. I know we gave our mom a heart attack, I do remember that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We pulled the thing apart, grabbed the frame. We couldn't make a head tube at the time, so we had to cut the head tube off the stock frame with a hacksaw, of course, because that's all we had. And then a grinder to try and smooth the whole thing out. Ended up taking a big piece of butcher paper and putting it on the ping pong table and drawing out what I thought the frame should look like. And then buying tubes and laying them out on there, and then we'd tack them up on the ping pong table and then pull it off to weld the whole rest of the thing up. The suspension we kind of designed off at the time. The KX80 had something similar, but we did our own linkage, all aluminum stuff, and a single dog bone like the works bikes in Japan were using at the time. Let's see, we did Merrill's Pro Wheels, was a big wheel company at the time. We did heavy duty spokes too, and the brakes are double leading brakes, front and rear, that we pretty much handmade. Used a Clark plastic tank and Mayer side panels, all from the RM80 stuff with Cyclam fenders.
Got the Bob Hanna bend. What kind of bars were those? JT?
I think they were Answer.
Yeah, Answer chromoly bars. Picture your 12-year-old neighbor kid or little brother. That's who built and designed this bike back in 1980. It's hilarious. Our parents were horrified, but somehow by them letting us do crazy stuff, we kind of got to where we are at today at BBR. I remember too calling Powerroll just about every day and bugging those guys. And I remember we didn't have enough money to buy a piston and gaskets and all that, so we skipped the gaskets and made them out of cardboard, but of course didn't punch the oil hole in. Burned the whole motor up, and when you're 12 and 13 years old, you know, $100 for a new head is a lot of money. But we did some other crazy stuff. What else?
Well, I remember Pete at Powerroll just laughing uncontrollably on the phone at me for doing that, but we learned a good lesson. The other thing I was just telling somebody about the other day was we used CalGuard engine coat paints on all the engine stuff and baked it in our mom's oven. And I remember she came home from work or somewhere one day and I had all her cookie sheets in the garage blasting all that stuff with a paint gun and doing all their molybdenum sulfide coatings too on all the gears.
And the house still smells like that stuff 30 years later, so we violated her. I remember welding the thing with coat hangers too. We asked for a gas welder from Sears for Christmas. All the other kids wanted toys. We wanted a gas welder. The thing shows up and there's no welding rod, and we wanted to get going on the project, so we unwound every coat hanger in the place and welded this thing together. So of course the frame broke, but you know, it got us started for having no money.
Yeah, nice dirty welds with that painted coat hanger wire.
And the bike actually was pretty good for 80, 81. I remember lining up and racing it at our local track, and there was 39 YZ RM80s on the line, all yellow, and me on the red bike. I, of course, thought I was going to win, but I ended up going 6.6, which looking back was some kind of a miracle, you know, against those bikes. But the thing was pretty good for the time.
Let's see, we did, somewhere in the middle of the project, we saw the Kelvin Franks stuff come out, and he was doing all the cool billet machine stuff. That was one of our early inspirations. And I think our junior high shop teacher kind of freaked out when we were making the brake rod on it and putting dual leading brakes on the front and the rear of the thing. Nobody was really doing disc brakes at the time for the mini bike, so we hadn't quite thought of that. A couple of the highlights on the bike: we had the mini Bader forks, which were kind of the bomb in that era. We had Works Performance shock we had custom made. There really weren't much in the way of single shocks outside of the little YZ80 monoshock thing, so that was kind of a unique thing that they built for us. Powerroll provided most of the motor stuff for us. We had the Powerroll cam in there, piston kit, the Powerroll Makuni carb kit that they had at the time, and the pipe we kind of fabbed ourselves with some of the Powerroll stuff. It's got Cyclam fenders on it, which we see on eBay all the time. Haven't been able to take it to myself to pull the stickers off. They're pretty hammered, but no replacements for those, I don't think.